Welcome to Stonewatch. This is my open spoiler discussion for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, after checking out Shazam! Fury of the Gods at the theater opening weekend, I gotta say, this movie was pretty good. Now, I'm not gonna say this is my most favorite comic book movie I've ever seen of all time, but I had a lot of fun with this movie. There were a lot of good, funny moments in this movie. I thought that the character dynamic in this was just as good as it was in the first movie, especially between the kids and the foster parents, which I also gotta say that as far as parents goes, these two have no clue what's going on. I mean, the fact that all these kids can hide, that the fact that they're superheroes and whatnot from them and they don't know what's going on at all, I think that's that's something else, you know what I'm saying? Now, we had a runtime of 130 minutes, which is actually 2 minutes shorter than the first film, and I thought the pacing in this was actually pretty good. It didn't feel like 2 hours, what have you. I didn't feel compelled to check my phone to see how the thing was actually going. I mean, I had fun watching this movie, even though I'll be quite honest with you, I never read a Shazam comic book in my life, so I really couldn't tell you how close this is to being comic book accurate. Be quite honest with you, I have no idea. Now, could they actually do a third one for this movie? I mean, I don't know. If it wasn't for the fact that the DCEU is actually going through a little bit of a reboot with James Gunn and Peter Safran right now, I don't know if this movie will actually be part of that reboot. Especially right now, it's not really killing it at the box office. So I really highly doubt that this thing will actually be part of the new DCU going later on down the road. And then does that mean I think that Shazam won't show up in any other DCU movie? Not necessarily. I mean, he could still be in other movies, but I don't know whether or not if he's actually going to get his own separate movie, to complete the trilogy, if you will. I mean, because the kids are getting older. So, and I don't know, again, not being all that familiar with the comic book story, I don't know how old Billy Batson gets before the Shazam thing stops, or because when he says Shazam and he turns into the superhero thing, how much older is he really? You know what I mean? Shazam! Fury of the Gods, also released as Shazam! Fury of Kings in some countries, is a 2023 American superhero film based on the DC Comics character Shazam. Produced by New Line Cinema, DC Studios, and the Safran Company. Distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures, and it is a sequel to Shazam of 2019 and the 12th installment of the DC Extended Universe. Directed by David F. Sandberg and written by Henry Gayden and Chris Morgan. In the film, Billy Batson, Shazam, and his foster siblings fight the Daughters of Atlas. A sequel to Shazam began development shortly after the film's release in April of 2019, with Gayden returned as the writer. Sandberg and Levi were also set to return by that November. The title and the rest of the returning cast were confirmed in August of 2020. Zegler, Mirren, and Liu were cast as the Daughter of Atlas in early of 2021. Filming began in May of 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia, and concluded in August of 2021. Shazam! Fury of the Gods premiered at the Fox Village Theater in West Hollywood, Los Angeles, California on March 14th of 2023 and was theatrically released in the United States on March 17th of 2023. The film received mixed reviews from the critics, who praised its humor and performances but criticizes the screenplay, some critics stating it lacked the heart of the first film, but receives high praises from the fans. Starring in this movie, Zachary Levi, Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer, Rachel Zegler, Adam Brody, Ross Butler, Megan Good, Lucy Liu, Jimin Hansu, and Helen Mirren, just to name a few. Coming out of opening weekend, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is sitting with a Rotten Tomato score of 53%. 174 top critics reported in, so a little over half of the top critics actually like this movie. Now, I looked at some of their little snippet reviews and kind of see where they're going with the ones who like the movie and the ones who don't like the movie. I find myself pretty much in the middle also. I mean, I like this movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie, but I didn't love this movie. I mean, I kind of like the first one better. I mean, I don't know. Maybe when I go back and do a rewatch on this one, I might feel a little bit differently, but then again, who knows? Now, over on the audience side, it's sitting with a score of 87%, with 1,000 plus fans telling you what they think. So the fans are loving this movie a lot more so than the top critics. And I looked at some of their snippet reviews, and they all pretty much said down the line, except for a few of them, it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun. They had a good time with their family, and it was a good family movie. This is what the DC movie needs. I mean, I agree with that completely, where I did have a lot of fun with this movie. I definitely like this movie way more so than I did Black Adam. I felt that it tied in more to the DCU, especially with all the mentions of Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman and stuff like that, even though like his obsession, like getting a date with Wonder Woman, which I thought that was pretty damn funny. And that was really creepy when the wizard appeared on Wonder Woman's body and stuff. That was so weird. Maybe it was just me. But other than that, I thought this movie was pretty damn good. Now, this thing did actually have 2 credit scenes. Now, I heard somebody say that, watch the first one, don't bother staying for the second one. To me, I mean, I paid $8.25 for my ticket. I'm staying for all of it. You know what I'm saying? Mainly because I'm cheap. But I thought that both credit scenes were actually kind of cool. It kind of sets up stuff further on down the road. But again, since we know that James Gunn and Peter Safran are pretty much doing a reboot of the DCU, I don't think that either one of these credit scenes are actually going to pay off to anything, especially because this thing is not really doing that well at the box office. Now, with a budget of $125 million and its domestic box office for the weekend estimated to be $30 million and its international box office estimated to be $35 million, which brings its total worldwide box office for opening weekend is $65.5 million. Now, that's not, it's maybe almost half of their production budget, so maybe, but John Wick 4 comes out next week, and then the weekend after that, we got Dungeons and Dragons, so this thing has got a lot of competition that's coming up, and then we got other big movies coming out in April too, so I don't know if this movie's going to really do all that well. I mean, the first movie didn't do all that great either. I mean, the first Shazam movie made only $366 million, so I don't know. If it wasn't for the competition that it had coming up in the next couple weeks, I'd say maybe, but I think John Wick next week alone is going to kill Shazam Fury of the Gods at the box office. I strongly believe that John Wick 4 is going to be number 1 at the box office next weekend, especially with all the positive reaction it's getting right now from like the early viewings. So I really don't think that Shazam Fury of the Gods really got a prayer come next weekend or the weekend after that, right? I mean, the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to have like big, huge movie releases that this thing's going to have to deal with. So if it's lucky, it'll catch up to the first movie, if it's lucky. So I don't know. But all I could say is I did like this movie. I did have a lot of fun with this movie. I kind of wish I could see this cast at least one more time so they can complete their trilogy. I mean, just to complete it out. But I thought they're going to get that opportunity because of the box office and because of the reboot of the DCU in general. So, but we'll have to wait and see. If this movie, I doubt this thing's going to actually start catching fire and really make $1 billion or something like that. I mean, if it did, maybe. But I seriously doubt it's ever going to get that far, right? So, did you have a chance to go out and check Shazam Fury of the Gods? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? Do you think this movie was any good? Let me know in the comments down below. And did you think it was better or worse than the first movie? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, I don't know, man. I had a lot of fun with this movie, but it is what it is, right? So, let me think in the comments down below.